You ever notice how the loudest moments in your life demanded the quietest version of you? Chapter 1: Chaos doesn't announce itself. It just shows up. A phone call, a betrayal, a failure you didn't see coming, and suddenly everything you thought you knew collapses in on itself. Your chest tightens, your thoughts race, and you realize in that exact moment you have a choice. You can let it consume you, or you can do something most people never learn. You can stay still, not frozen, not numb, but present, clear, in control. The Stoics understood something we've forgotten in a world obsessed with reaction. They knew that true power isn't found in how hard you can hit back. It's found in how steady you remain when everything around you is falling apart. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Read that again. You have power over your mind, not the situation, not what they said, not what happened. Your mind. That's your kingdom. And most of us spend our entire lives letting other people rule it. Someone cuts you off in traffic. You're angry for an hour. Someone dismisses your work. You question yourself 4 days. Someone walks away, and you carry that weight for years. But here's the truth. The Stoics lived by. The world doesn't owe you calm. It doesn't owe you clarity. It will test you, break you, confuse you. And if you're waiting for the noise to stop before you find your peace, you'll be waiting forever. So, you have to build it from the inside out. Chapter 2, let me tell you about a man who lost everything. He was stripped of his freedom, exiled, humiliated. His name was Epictetus. And before he became one of the greatest philosophers in history, he was a slave, chains on his wrists, no control over his own body. And yet in that prison, he discovered something his captives never could. He realized they could take his freedom, but they couldn't take his mind. He said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." That's not philosophy. That's survival. That's freedom in a world that wants to break you. You don't need perfect conditions to think clearly. You don't need everything to go right to act calmly. You just need to stop waiting for life to give you permission. And start taking command of the one thing that's always been yours, your response. Music, Chapter 3. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds great in theory, but you don't know what I'm dealing with. You don't know the pressure I'm under. You're right. I don't. But the Stoics did. Marcus Aurelius wasn't sitting in a library writing poetry. He was ruling an empire, wars, plagues, betrayals from people he trusted. He had every reason to lose himself. And yet, every night has it down and reminded himself of one thing. Confine yourself to the present. Not yesterday, not next week, right now. This breath, this moment, this decision. Because when you strip everything away, the regret, the fear, the what-ifs, all you really have is now. And now is always manageable. It's when you try to carry the past and the future at the same time that you collapse. So the first rule of staying in control: stop trying to control everything. Let that sink in. You think control means gripping tighter, planning for every outcome, anticipating every disaster. But real control is the opposite. It's knowing what's yours to carry and what isn't. Seneca put it this way: we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Most of the storms you're preparing for will never come. And the that do, you'll handle them. Not because you predicted them, but because you stayed present enough to respond with clarity instead of panic. Chapter 4. So, how do you actually do this? How do you think clearly when your mind is screaming? How do you act calmly when your heart is racing? You start small. You start honest when the emotion hits, and it will. You pause just for 3 seconds. You don't react. You don't speak. You don't move. You just breathe, and in that pause, you ask yourself one question. What would the clearest version of me do right now? Not the angriest, not the most hurt, the clearest. Because clarity isn't a feeling. It's a practice. It's a muscle you build every time you choose stillness over chaos. Every time you choose truth over drama. Every time you choose yourself over the noise. And over time, something shifts. The world doesn't get quieter. You do. The situations don't get easier. You get stronger. And the things that used to break you start to bounce off. Not because you're cold, but because you're ground. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the obstacle is the way. Every challenge you're facing right now, it's not in your way, it is the way. It's teaching you how to think under pressure, how to move with intention, how to become the kind of person who doesn't crumble when life gets hard. And that person, that's not someone you find. That's someone you build one decision at a time, one breath at a time, one moment of clarity at a time. Chapter 5. Here's what no one tells you about control. It's not about dominance. It's about discipline. It's not about never feeling. It's about not being ruled by what you feel. You're allowed to be afraid. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to hurt. But you're not allowed to let those things make your decisions for you. Because the moment you do, you've handed your power to something outside yourself. And once you know that, you're no longer living your life. You're reacting to it. The Stoics didn't suppress emotion. They understood it. They felt it fully. And then they chose what to do with it. That's the difference between wisdom and weakness, between control and chaos. You feel everything, but you're moved by nothing that doesn't serve you. Closing, so let me leave you with this. The world will keep testing you. And you'll be tempted to believe that peace is something you find when everything calms down. But it's not. Peace is what you become when you stop waiting for permission to be okay. Clarity is what you practice when no one's watching. You already have everything you need. The strength, the calm. It's something you remember, not something you achieve. So the next time chaos comes, don't beg for it to stop. Just breathe. Stay still, that's where your power lives. If this resonated with you, if you're building that quiet strength, subscribe. Not for me, but for you. I'll be here every time you need a reminder.